They were on their way to the airport in the capital Port-au-Prince when they were taken by armed men in the area of Ganthier. Well, Haiti has endured years of economic and political upheaval, but the situation worsened after the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse in July and a devastating earthquake in August. Well, Haiti's been struggling with a steady rise in gang-related kidnappings. 628 people were reported kidnapped in just the first 9 months of this year. That's according to the country's Centre for Analysis and Research in Human Rights. Well, that far outstrips the 234 people taken in all of 2020, according to police statistics compiled by the UN in Haiti. That was 3 times the number of people taken in 2019, although, of course, many kidnappings are never reported. But the growing audacity of the gangs has seen police officers, doctors, children, priests, nuns and even entire busloads of passengers taken recently. With ransom demands ranging from hundreds of dollars to more than $1 million, it's a lucrative business in a deeply impoverished country.
When we hear there's been a kidnapping, we know it's not going to be good for drivers. People don't go out on the streets. We can't find people who need transport. We have a wife and 4 to 5 children, a family.
Well, Mike Hanna is following developments from Washington, D.C. Hi there, Mike. What more do we know about this group at this stage?
Well, this particular group that the Haitian police say is responsible for the attack is known as Mawozo, 400 Mawozo. That is literally translated as 400 inexperienced men. Now, it's been operational, particularly in the east of Haiti, for a period of time. Observers say it's responsible for as much as 80% of the kidnappings that has taken place. It's regarded as extremely ruthless and was responsible for the kidnapping earlier this year in April of a group of Catholic priests and nuns. So it is a group that has been operating for a long period of time, and now Haitian police say that the group of missionaries and their children are just the latest victims of this ongoing scourge of kidnapping.
And Mike, who's thought to be behind this latest kidnapping?
Well, as I said, the group that appears to be behind it is this group, 400 Mawozo. But State Department is not issuing any full-blooded comment on the matter. It says that it is aware of the situation. It is continuing to monitor what is happening. It is interesting to note as well that a U.S. security delegation was in Haiti in recent days to consult with the Haitian police on how the U.S. can help in its efforts to restore law and order within Haiti. There's been a vacuum in law and order, particularly since the assassination of the president back in July. So you've got a situation where there's a real vacuum. The last vestige of law and order was really taken with the assassination of the president. So the U.S. saying it wants to help. Questions now being raised about whether it may go further than that. It has already intervened militarily in Haiti on 6 occasions in recent decades. So this is something that the Haitian people have responded to very angrily. So a difficult situation indeed. But what we do know is that the Haitian police have now identified the organization they say is responsible. And it's an organization, as I mentioned, that is regarded as extremely ruthless and responsible for the vast majority of kidnappings that have taken place.
Mike Hanna with the very latest there from Washington, D.C. Mike, thank you. Well, Emmanuela Duong is the director of Policité. That's a think tank based in Haiti which focuses on economic development, and she joins us via Skype from Massachusetts. Emmanuela, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate your time. Now, these most recent kidnappings of the missionaries, I mean, that's just the latest of many, and we heard those frightening statistics earlier. In your view, what's driving this explosion in kidnappings?
Thank you for having me. I think there are many reasons why we are witnessing this. One of them is impunity. Therefore, the kidnappers, they have an incentive to keep doing what they are doing because the risk of being arrested or go to jail are relatively low. I haven't heard of any kidnappers of influential members of any gangs being arrested in the past years. And also because they kidnap people and the risk of dying and the families, they know that the police is not going to intervene. Therefore, they do everything they can to pay the ransom. The people involved in kidnappings, they know that the families are going to do whatever they can. They are going to sell whatever they have to pay the ransom. They keep doing it, and they've been doing it for so many months. They kidnap people going on their way to church, on their way to school, and there are some cases where they kidnap people in their own home. And so far, they haven't been arrested, and the families always end up, in most cases, they end up paying the ransom. Therefore, there is no reason why they wouldn't keep doing it in a country where the police is not really doing its job in terms of protecting the citizen. And
Emanuela, I'm just wondering that normally, I believe, you would be based in Haiti, and I'm just wondering whether the current security situation has anything to do with the fact that you're not there currently. And I'm thinking about the wider perspective of how destabilizing this must be for so many families. I think I was reading that people are even starting to kind of save a kidnap fund.
This has been really destabilizing, like you mentioned it. I used to live in Haiti. I live in Haiti, but for the past month, I've been staying in the U.S., and mostly because I'm really concerned about my own safety. I've received threats, and in the past, I would have said, okay, it's part of my, like, it's because of my advocacy. It's because I'm trying to push for more accountability. But now I have to think twice before going back, because in June, they killed a friend and fellow activist, Nettie Duclair, and every day I'm seeing the news, they are kidnapping people and all. And this kind of climate give opportunities for anyone, for any small gangs to do whatever they want, because then it's easy now. Because there is not that many control, therefore anyone who has something against you can do something. The risks are higher now than they used to be. So I have to protect myself as much as I can. And this is why I'm not in Port-au-Prince right now. And I can only imagine what is this like for other people who are still on the ground. Less than 2 weeks ago, they kidnapped a friend of mine. And every day when we watching the news or when we're checking our phone, WhatsApp is used by a lot of people in Haiti, and whenever something happens, we will see it in WhatsApp. And when they kidnap someone, before we know who they kidnap, we have to check with our loved one, with our friends, to see if they are safe. It's really difficult for us Haitian and for everyone who is working or just living in Haiti, not only the Haitian.
In terms of what the answers might be, at least I'm thinking, Emanuela, in the kind of shorter term, we're hearing from the UN that's just renewed its mission. They mentioned on Friday that they're going to be concentrating on policing and security. But is that external help what's needed here, or is it doing something better more locally? What's your view?
Restoring peace and security is the priority. Not election, nothing else, because we can have election, we can have people functioning normally in the country without peace and security. But to do it, I've seen that some people are seizing this opportunity to call for military intervention from the US or troops from the UN. I don't think it is the right thing in terms of solution, because we've had this in the past. We've had troops from the UN in Haiti for many years. And when they left, we went back to the same situation we were before, if it's not worse. So I don't think this is the solution. We need to strengthen the police. We need to train them so they can have and give them enough resources so they can really fight the gangs. And another problem is that, like Human Rights Association, there are reports that there are members of the police who have ties to the gangs. We need to clean the police, audit the police, and make sure that there should be a vetting. Police officers who have ties to the gang should not be in the police force, and then give them the means, the training, so they can do their job. And having a military intervention, whether from the US or the UN, is really not the appropriate solution. And we've experienced it before, it didn't work. I don't know, I don't see why it will work now.
Emanuela Doyen, they were joining me there, Director of Policité. Emanuela, thank you.